Hello all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll talk about how to create AR credit memo and then apply to an AR invoice. So you need to log into any of your receivables supervisor responsibility. So in my current example, I logged into accounts receivable supervisor Reliance Telecom UST. So Reliance Telecom is my operating unit. So that's the naming convention. So navigate to transactions. So there are different ways of creating a credit memo. One way is to go to the transaction workbench, create a credit memo, and then apply this particular credit memo to any of the existing invoice or query for the invoice, and then click on actions and then credit to, and then you can create a credit memo from the from that screen. So I'll show you both the ways of creating a credit memos. First way would be like, first I'll try to create a invoice, and from the invoice screen I'll show you how to create a credit memo against the particular invoice. So let me select the transaction source. I'm just trying to create an invoice. So transaction class is invoice, type manual invoice. Let me select a customer items. I'll try to create invoice for 150,000, and there is a tax calculated. Let me close this. Click on complete button. So you have an invoice for $165,000. Now click on actions, credit. So when you click on actions, credit, system is trying to create a credit memo against this particular invoice. So a credit memo will be created and applied for this particular invoice. So both the actions will be taken care by the system. So as soon as you click on actions credit to, your source is defaulted, transaction source from the original invoice, the transaction source is defaulted. Enter the credit memo transaction type, manual credit memo. And as far as the credit memo is concerned, you can create a credit memo for the partial invoice amount or full invoice amount. And again, you have an option whether you want to create a credit memo for just the lines, or lines and tax, or only the tax portion. So I'll just select line and tax, and I want to create a credit memo for only say 80%. So here you can see 80% of your invoice line amount and tax amount will be credited. Once you have entered this 80%, save this and click on complete button. So you can see a credit memo number 10283 got created. So if you requery this particular invoice, we'll be able to see the balance being reduced by 132,000. So let me requery this invoice. Control F11. Control F11. Okay. Let me just close and reopen the screen. Okay. F4. F11. Query for my transaction number. This is my original transaction number. And you would click on details. You can see a credit memo of 132,000 got reduced from the original invoice outstanding balance. Now the invoice outstanding balance is $33,000. So if you want to see the credit memo which is created against this particular invoice, you can click on actions, installments, activities, details. So this is how you can see the credit memo which is created against that particular original invoice. And within the credit memo, you have, when you click on the reference information, you have the original invoice number against which this particular credit memo is applied. And now again from this particular invoice credit memo screen, if you want to go back to the invoice workbench, what you can do is, or rather the invoice original invoice, so you can click on actions, installments, activities, and invoice. So you can see the details of the invoice against which this particular credit memo is actually applied. So this is the one way of creating a credit memo. I'll also show you the other way. The other way would be, maybe close all the screen. Transactions. Try to create a credit memo standalone. That is without going to the invoice or without querying for the existing invoice and trying to click on actions credit to. You can just try to create a standalone credit memo, and then you can apply this particular credit memo to any of the existing open invoices of that customer. So select the transaction source, transaction class, credit memo, transaction type, manual credit memo. Enter the customer name, line items, maybe a description, quantity, and this being a credit memo, obviously your unit should be in negative. So I just want to enter, say, maybe $1,000. Save this. The system will automatically calculate the tax on this credit memo. And I'm not able to close this one. Anyways, I can go back to the screen and click on complete. So here you can see a credit memo for $1,100 is created. Now it's not applied to any invoice. Now if I want to apply this particular credit memo to the invoice, you can click on actions, applications, click on this drop down. Now here you will be able to see all the open invoices of this particular customer against which you can apply this credit memo. You can apply this credit memo to any of these open invoices. Let me pick up this invoice and I'll try to apply this. Apply date will be defaulted to the system date. Click on save. And now you requery this credit memo and then you should be able to see this reference information. F11, enter your credit memo number and then control F11. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing. Anyways, if you want to see that information, you can go to this installments, activities. So this is how you can see the original invoice number against which this particular credit memo is applied. Now coming back to the accounting entries. Let me close this invoice screen. Go back to the credit memo. So this is the credit memo. And if you want to see the accounting entry, click on tools, create accounting. Maybe we'll go for draft accounting. Your accounting entry will be your revenue or tax account will be debited and your receivable account will be credited. It is exactly opposite of your invoice. So generally when you create your invoice, your journal entry will be your receivable account will be debited and your revenue and tax account will be credited. But whereas when you create your credit memo, revenue and tax will be debited and your receivables will be credited. Tools, view accounting. So if you look at this particular part, rather the last three lines, receivable account is revenue and tax is debited and receivable account is credited. And as far as these two lines are concerned, here you can see the receivable account is debited and credited. Same account is debiting. This being the reason for this is basically you have applied your credit memo to the invoice. So when you apply your credit memo to the invoice, the receivable account of the invoice will be credited and the receivable account of your credit memo will be debited. So in this example, as the receivable account is same in both the your invoice and credit memo, you are not able to see any specific significance of this. But if you, for some reason, if you use a different receivable account in credit memo, then you will be able to see a difference here. So let me just go back to this credit memo. Generally, whenever you try to create a credit memo against invoice, you use the same accounting entries of your original invoice. So there's a profile option. Once you set the particular profile option, system will use the same accounting code combinations of your invoice to your credit memo. But you can very well go to the what do you call the distributions and change those details before you run your create accounting. Okay, and as in this case, as we have already run the create accounting and also the invoice is incomplete and status, and as the create accounting is already run, system is not allowing us to change this. So let me try to create another credit memo. And now change the receivable account. Instead of 1210, maybe let me try to use maybe 1212. Complete this. Okay, now go to add tools, create accounting, draft accounting. So I have not yet applied this particular credit memo to any invoice and check the accounting entry now. See, your revenue and tax is debited, receivable account is credited. Okay, with your receivable account is 1212. Now try to apply this particular credit memo to any invoice and then again run the create accounting and check the accounting entry. Then actions, applications. Maybe I'll try to apply to this invoice. And now tools, create accounting, again draft accounting. Looks like it got stuck. Maybe I need to close the screen and reopen. I need to close this. Okay, go to task manager. Kill this session. Maybe let me clear cache and cookies and then retry. Okay, let's go back to our receivables and pick up the credit memo which we have created. Okay, I don't remember the credit memo number. Anyways, we can try once again. Manual credit memo. Okay, so let us change the receivable account to 1212. Let's complete this. Create accounting. Before applying of this credit memo to any invoice, I'm just showing the same steps again. Yeah, revenue and tax got debited and receivable credited. Now try to apply this credit memo to a invoice and then try to do the create accounting once again. Save this. This is the outstanding balance of this particular original invoice after applying of this 1650. Okay. Now we have applied the credit memo to this invoice. Now again, once again, run the create accounting. Okay. Now check the accounting entry once again. So here you can see this first two lines got created now. So here you can see now the difference. So this is the receivable account which got debited. This is the receivable account of the credit memo, and this is the receivable account of the original invoice. So the receivable account of the original invoice will be credited, and the receivable account of the credit memo will be debited. But of course, in general, in most of the cases, we actually use the same receivable account in both the credit memo and the original invoice. If that's the case, these particular two lines do not have any financial impact because the same account gets debited and credited, and you can just focus on this line, three lines, wherein your revenue and tax will be debited and your receivable account will be credited as far as the credit memo is concerned. So this is how you create a credit memo and apply it to a invoice. Thank you. Thanks for watching video. For interesting videos on Oracle financials, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.